So yesterday there were some football games, some big playoff games. It's like the conference championships, and I used to be a big fan of sports, and lately I just haven't really kept up with it because they seem to be more interested in pushing politics and other agendas rather than actually just playing the game. But this is kind of a story I thought was interesting just because it kind of is that situation where you don't have to be in sports to have an opinion on it. So, for some context, yesterday or last night, the Chiefs and the Bengals had their game and it was down to the wire. I think it was a tied game. The Chiefs were driving down the field and their quarterback Patrick Mahomes ran with the ball. I think they were probably around there, probably around midfield, and he ran for the sideline and got. It looks like I think to about the 40. Maybe there's a video somewhere showing it. Okay, yeah. So they were already pretty close. No, that's not the clip. Okay, well, I guess they're not gonna. Okay, here it is. But you still got a chance to clock it. Take your time and take the shot down. Here's Mahomes rolling out on 3rd and 4. He's going to go for the. Yes, he's got the marker. He's got the out of bounds to stop it. And Osai was hurt as he hit the bench. And a flag. Yeah, so, I mean, he was down around the 40-yard line, so that's a very long field goal to hit. Still makeable, but definitely less likely than not to make it. So this guy, Joseph Osai, looks like he had a late hit on Mahomes there at the end and got penalized for it and pushed the Chiefs. Yeah, so penalized the Chiefs, not the Chiefs, the Bengals 15 yards and pushed them a lot closer to a field goal, and he hit it and won the game. So this guy made a really stupid decision. I mean, I'll stand by that every unnecessary roughness penalty is completely your fault and you're a complete moron for committing it unless you're retaliating someone else doing something blatantly to you and then you get caught for it, then that's possibly different. But this was just totally uncalled for, never needed to happen, especially doing it to one of the NFL's golden boys. You're just not going to get away with that. So it's debatable whether you should go after this guy a lot or not. And just judging by his reaction to it, and you can see he just feels terrible. He's crying. Clearly, I think just seeing what he's cost his team he'll probably learn his lesson from that. You probably don't need to go any further than that. And I think generally the biggest people who should be responsible for it the most, and this should be reflective of just life in general, is your superiors. So parents with their children, if their children do something stupid, etc. The coaches should be held accountable for this, I think, for the most part, because it's their job to keep the discipline in the locker room, to make sure these guys don't step out of line because they are playing a high intensity sports game and they're putting so much physical exertion into it that it's up to the coaches to keep other things such as the discipline on the field, off the field, in mind for these guys, to constantly remind them about it. So if I was the coach, day one, I would be telling everybody on the team, if you do anything stupid like this. Now, I'm not saying if you dropped a pass or something, obviously that happens. It's not that you're just being an idiot and made a ridiculously stupid decision. Something like this where the quarterback is already out of bounds and you still shove him, or just, that's just a really dumb decision. Maybe there was another malicious action someone pulled where they grab a guy and slam him to the ground for no reason. That's another stupid decision that should not be tolerated. And if you're the coach, that should be the first thing you tell your players. If you make a completely ridiculous decision like that, you are done. And I think you'd see a lot more discipline on the team. So ultimately, I think that's just reflective of our society we have now. Parents nowadays, they just don't take responsibility for their children. Their children do things that are stupid. And this is just on a larger scale. You just kind of see that this is where this ends up going. Now, the other issue I wanted to look at was the Rangers Pride Night about face created same mess it tried to avoid. Okay, I wanted to try to pick a absolutely ridiculous article, and I definitely found a good one. So thank you, Molly Walker, for providing this absolutely absurd article. It's just a little while ago. I'm trying to remember this Russian NHL player, Provorov. He decided not to wear this pride jerseys or whatever it was for his game. They think they're warm-up jerseys, but he said he wasn't going to support it. It's against his faith. He was Russian Orthodox, so makes sense. And now, apparently, I just heard about this. An entire team, the Rangers. Yeah, I mean, back when I followed the NHL, I was a Rangers fan, so good for them of all teams to pull whatever this is. I'm a little skeptical. It's when I see an entire team make this kind of decision, I definitely feel as though possibly maybe there's a mix-up or something, because how difficult was it already just to find one player like Provorov to stand against this? And now suddenly you get a whole team like in unison. I don't know, there's got to be something up about that. But this this article is just laughable. By veering from their promoted plan to wear Pride-themed jerseys for their annual Pride Night on Friday at Madison Square Garden, the Rangers turned what was otherwise a beautiful celebration of inclusivity into a story about the organization. It's ironic that the reverse decision to forego the special warm-ups and tape was presumably made to avoid a public relations mess. Instead, that's exactly what has happened. So it looks like they promised to do it and then backed off on it, and people don't really know why. But I'm just not getting a lot of information about why this happened. But if it's the case that they really did just finally push back and say this is moronic and we don't want to get behind it, then props to them. Kudos. I mean, shouldn't be that hard to do. But right now, with how many people are bending to these crazy people's wills, this feels similar to the men storming the beaches of Normandy, or the last stand of the Spartans at the Battle of Thermopylae. It sounds like it's right up there with them, considering the circumstance. And yeah, I think we need to see more of this happening, because it's constant bullying tactics. These people, I mean, okay. It's not always obvious seeing the difference between something good and something evil. Sometimes the differences are very subtle. And, we're only human. Sometimes we'll be steered wrongly if we make wrong judgments on something. But it's amazing how easy these people are making it, just how obviously wrong and evil that they are, that they even, yeah, sodomy, homosexuality, however you want to call it, is already wrong. It's against God, it's against his laws, it's against the Christian faith. And it's in the Bible, it's anywhere. You can't be a Christian, let alone a Catholic, and accept this nonsense. But even beyond just that part, the fact that they use the word pride everywhere, they call everything pride parades. Oh, have pride in this. Pride is the top sin of all sins. It's the root of all sins. So, in case the other stuff wasn't already obvious enough, the fact that they use pride as basically their slogan, the thing that they put themselves behind, is just makes it so obvious. And it's a little bit discouraging to see so many people still not see it. But hopefully this can turn things around in the right direction. I won't hold my breath over it. I'll pray for it, but we'll see. Bravo to the Rangers if this was their intention. Even if it was done by accident, at least it might turn something around, but we'll see. So thanks again, and see you next time.